What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to Lyles Movie Files. Joining me, as always, is little brother Jayce. Bro Shot, we are perfectly DC simpatico. I'm rocking Flash. You're rocking the symbol of hope, which with DC live action is not something that you should be specializing in. How you feeling?
Well, I feel good, but if it was watching DC films, I have no hope.
Man,
I would actually have it like Bizarro shirt.
Or you could have like a bleeding hope shirt. So like the Doomsday joint where it's just like a bleeding S. Yeah. There is no hope.
Nah.
And there is no hope if you're a fan of the ashes that were the Arrowverse, which has now been reappropriated the CWVerse, because man, the CW is like, you get canceled, you're getting canceled, and you're getting canceled too. Oh, you got some superheroes in there? Let's cancel you. So let's break it down here. After 7 long seasons, and I have really had to say, defying the odds from where that show started, DC's Legends of Tomorrow is finally no more. Now, this was 3-4 seasons too late from a certain point of view, because like I said, I have binged seasons. Probably the last one was season 6, and you know, just taking it as it is, it's a funny show. But the problem, really highlighted by Legends of Tomorrow, it's not about superheroes. And I don't know where they went off track with this show, but originally it was just random characters from the Arrowverse, basically in a very loose time displaced Justice League thing, fighting and righting the wrongs throughout time. And then it was just like, let's not have any superheroes on the show at all. And for a time that was okay. Let's save all the superhero action for the season finale. But then they just were like, you know, we don't need superheroes. Like, they started introducing characters who had abilities that weren't canon in DC. And I was like, what are you guys doing? There's 5 billion. There's 52 universes in DC. And you guys are coming up with characters just to throw on this show?
But you can almost think a show like that needs, if you're trying to go, I think, somewhat level of cheap, not having superhero effects. We can just use season 1 time travel loop, you know, Simpsoning style in this thing, and add somebody you don't know that much about, so you can have a werewolf that turns randomly into a werewolf, and you know, you can create your own characters and go as cheap as you want to. But they really went, I think it was like whatever the point when they stopped doing the crossovers with the bigger Arrowverse, that was the point when they were like, okay, it's a funny show, but if this day comes when they're getting rid of superhero shows, we're the first one on the chopping block, because we got a big cast and we're not kind of respected as part of. They're not going to probably jump on the sword to save us. They're going to save Flash. They're going to go with, you know, Supergirl, possibly, before they say, hey, you know what, we really want to keep this Legends around. So that was, adding into this thing, like when they decided they wanted to add Booster Gold as a Hail Mary to get to a next, as season 8 was like, y'all probably needed to add Booster Gold 3 seasons ago to get you to season 8 as him as a character, before DC decides, oh, now you guys use Booster Gold. Oh, we were going to use him for an HBO Max series, so he can't be.
They're like, whoa, no take backsies. What are you doing? They're the worst. I really think, you know, right at the pandemic, right when it started, we had the news that with the new Batwoman, we were going to have a crossover with Ryan and Superman and Lois. And I feel like COVID really killed off the rest of the Arrowverse, because you've got to think that with the boost of a team up crossover with Superman and Lois, Batwoman probably would have fared a little bit better, because Superman and Lois is the top tier CW superhero show these days, and Batwoman could have used the help, much like a struggling comic book gets a boost from Batman, Harley Quinn, Spider-Man, whatever showing up. It would have helped, and I felt that really hurt, not being involved in a larger scale crossover. And I know Batwoman showed up for a moment in Armageddon, but we'll talk about that in a second, because I want to talk about Flash later. But I just feel like there was some missed opportunities, and I think not being able to come together, not doing a crossover, really hurt.
Yeah, like Batwoman definitely, because they had actually built up a storyline initially that actually was dealing with kryptonite, and it was like you could tell they were gonna like, oh, we got this thing. Oh, COVID, we're not doing a crossover. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we're gonna have to make Alice and her sister figure this out and not even deal with, calling Clark Kent or any of the Flash people who might have dealt with some kryptonite. We can't even use these guys. We got our own contained set, and that hurt. And not being able to say, hey, Ryan Wilder, hey, what happened to Kate? Well, I'm the new avatar of hope, because Kate didn't have any hope because she decided she was good.
Kate started working for the CW, so she lost all hope.
It's like that, and I know we're not talking about that one yet, but it's like Batgirl was a better show.
Batwoman
was a much better show in season 3. I don't know if you're gonna get the Blu-ray from Warner Brothers, but I think you will like the characters they developed in this show. It was like, I know I would send you like, oh, here's this character, oh, here's what they're doing, and I'm like, this show is not bad, and it's like, it just probably needed unfortunately, it got really saddled with the bad legacy of season 1, because I didn't watch season 1. I watched the crossover one. I watched the first episode. I'm like, this ain't my jam. I know I probably watched 3 episodes. I'm like, this isn't my jam. I'll catch you at the crossover.
I think Batwoman's problem was it just felt too much like all the shows that had come before it. And Supergirl had done, I don't say it was so groundbreaking, but they'd handled a LGBT storyline, and I know I talk trash about Supergirl, but I just, a very brief aside, I read comic books, review them as you know, and so often when they have a character, oh, let's make him bisexual, let's introduce this new gay character, or yeah, she's a lesbian, they go through this whole deal where the character is really worried, anxious about telling their family and friends, and every like zero, there's no conflict, everybody's like, oh, this is so great, it's amazing, it's awesome. Supergirl really did something which I felt was really interesting at the time, and I feel like even in hindsight, I'm like, wow, Supergirl actually approached this the right way. When Alex was like, I think I may be feeling women now, and Kara was like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, and it didn't last but an episode, but they actually showed a sense of like Kara feeling sort of betrayed, like I don't even know you anymore. And even though it was 1 episode, I thought that was useful in showing how it's not something, the coming out is not always something that's embraced by everybody, like 100% success rate. So when they did that with Alex, they did her whole storyline where I think I'm feeling Maggie. Yeah, I am feeling Maggie. It left Batwoman, which I think they were hoping to be like, hey, we're breaking new ground, having a lesbian superhero. It's like, you guys are kind of late. And what a CW show would do in this case wasn't anything more complex than what Supergirl did, on a much better, much stronger level, because they approached it with layers, and Batwoman was just, yeah, she's hooking up with chicks.
Yeah, and even like the episode where Alex and Maggie were trying to be introduced to Maggie's father. Maggie's father actually had issue. It's like it was not. It was one of those. It was a layer, like, hey, I wanted grandkids, and then him coming off kind of like a jerk, and it was like, yeah, I'm sure people like, you know, folks have to deal with that more than it's rainbow and sunshine. And I think that was a much better portrayal. And then it's like Batwoman comes in and it's like it's a whole rainbow world. I mean, it's like, you know, everything's all good. And it was like that's probably not how it is for a lot of folks. And that's like to act like that is, you know, does them a disservice. And you guys are behind the. I mean, it's like we did this in Supergirl.
So and I think Supergirl with the Alex storyline had been like 2 seasons in, and I felt like Batwoman was just like, hey, the hook of our show is she's a lesbian superhero. I was like, great, that's whatever, but tell a good story. And I still felt like Ruby Rose was not in, and this is not bashing her after the fact, because I felt that Ruby Rose wasn't a great actress in the first place, and still think her best role was in John Wick Chapter 2, and she didn't say a word.
I mean, did you watch Orange Is the New Black?
No.
Okay, I didn't either, but I think it was one of those. They probably should have. They got. I don't want to say they probably got snookered into. Oh, she's the it girl, instead of actually doing the work. Like, all right, she's gonna be the lead of this. Is she ready to do it? Like, I mean, because I always laugh at just watching. I'm watching Smallville, and they were like, "Hey, at one point, Alan Richards was about to get the lead for Aquaman, the pilot, but they're like, no, he's a new actor. We can get Justin Hartley, who's just coming off Passions, to do it. And even though it messes up Smallville, we're gonna go with the dude who's a proven actor, who could probably lead, who's done TV for years, and could probably run this whole Air Aquaman." And they did not do that right vetting for Ruby Rose, and it was like, because even like Javicia Leslie, she did 2 seasons of the show on CBS. It was actually it wasn't Numbers, but it was actually a good show. I liked. I was mad they actually canceled it.
No, they can't. CBS canceled the show. Was that the one about the guy hearing messages from God? Was that show?
No, that was. It was. He would get like people's friends. It was like friend suggestions and how to help them, you know, improve their life, or some life altering thing was about to happen, and he would help them navigate. And that it was a feel good show. It was like, okay, this is, you know, on a Friday night or something like that, Thursday night. Like, okay, yeah. Oh, the world doesn't suck. Cool.
But I feel like had they just not had Ruby Rose, because I feel they really wanted to make her the showcase centerpiece star going forward, and I think they really shot all their toes, including the pinky toe, off, because they put her in Elseworlds, they put her in Crisis as a major player without ever really establishing her to any extent. And it was just like, dude, what are y'all doing? And it blew up, and it was like, okay, let's save face. And I knew the ratings for Rose's season of Batwoman weren't great, but I knew they had to keep Ryan, or, you know, Leslie's season going beyond 1, just because they didn't want to make it look bad to cancel the show after they put a black lead on there. But I just felt like there was a little bit more online buzz, and maybe that's just from checking out the Twitter scroll and seeing Batwoman trending more often in seasons 2 and 3 than it did season 1. But I felt like that was a show maybe earlier they would have let hang around for a bit longer.
I mean, I think I know this is kind of weird to do, but it's almost like a scenario where they would have been better. Like, okay, we need to kind of like, as much as we tried to do to raise Ruby Rose's profile, we need to kind of maybe do that for the new Ryan Wilder, Javicia Leslie. Like, if that means taking Batwoman off the air for a season, kind of running some team ups or something, maybe that's the way to do it. And some of these other characters, like Alice, like, yeah, we don't really need Alice for a whole season. Like, or maybe even just do it like during a summertime show where it wasn't with all the other CW shows. It was like, oh, okay, here's another CW running the same formula. Yeah. Oh, here's the love triangle, season 1. Yeah. Oh, wow, it was very played out. And it's like, you are again, I mean, sadly, it's like, you're the Johnny come lately, and we put you in here like you're front and center, and then our lead actress goes and says our whole show's horrible.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but it was John like that. It was like, they didn't have anything new to add to the formula that we hadn't seen countless times on the rest of the Arrowverse at that point. And it was just kind of, okay, you're offering nothing new. And then we moved on, and it was like, all right, we got Batwoman, Black Lightning's gone, Supergirl's gone. So it should have been a clean slate for new shows. So then they introduced Naomi. I watched one episode of Naomi, and I was like, yeah, this is a CW show, and I'll keep it on the DVR, and I'll watch it later. But then I had like 8 episodes on there, and it's like, I'm not going to watch these. So I just deleted it. And then CW decided we're going to delete it too. And it's like, okay, we're deleting. Gotcha. So, but I felt that Naomi was a terrible idea from the start. And it wasn't because I don't want to see a black superhero on the CW. It was because Naomi's a terrible character. Because Brian Michael Bendis, who any opportunity I can take to bash, I will. This guy, he's just so bad at writing comic books, and he is considered a elite level superstar in comic books. He's done great things, but he's been a guy coasting on his laurels forever. He writes everything like a sitcom. He has Batman saying please and thank you, which is just reads totally wrong. Yeah.
I'm sorry. These words, have you ever read a Batman? I got like a thing. It's like every time it's like he said thank you in a comic book, they're like, I know that was Clayface because he didn't ever say thank you.
Yeah, it's just totally out of character for him now. And it's just
there's no scenario. It's like even if I read like a Justice League with that, I'm like, this doesn't matter. This is crap. Like Batman's not that nice. It's like he's in the shadow mood. He ain't playing cool.
Everything Brian Michael Bendis has written in DC is a frisbee. But his deal with Naomi, so he co-created her with David F. Walker, and there was a 6-issue limited series, and it's basically to introduce a new character to the universe, and she's a blank slate, and it was kind of weird to just start a new character and then go, all right, well that's it, 6 issues, we're done for now. So then he moved her over to the book he was writing by himself, Young Justice. And Young Justice has been a book that DC fans have been clamoring for to come back because it was a book that was not continued when it went to the New 52 and didn't really get going when Rebirth started. So Bendis was like, Young Justice, and people were like, oh, Young Justice, oh shoot, Bendis is writing it. So Bendis, he's such a bad writer. So he decided having a book with Superboy, Robin, Impulse, Wonder Girl needed new characters. So he introduced Jenny Hex, who was somehow a descendant of Jonah Hex. Never really get into explanations of how that happens or whatever, but we just go along with it. Then he introduced the Teen Lantern, who was like a Green Lantern, but was able to use some power from a ring that she stole or something. He didn't care about backstory, so why should we? And then he put in Amethyst, whatever. Okay, the Gem World Princess. So those are the new additions to the team, and that's 7 characters. You figure that's enough. Bendis is like, no, we need more. So he brings in the Wonder Twins, and he brings in more characters, and he brings in Spoiler, and he brings in Naomi. There's not enough room for all these characters, especially since he decides, you know what? Robin's a stupid name for this guy. Let's have everybody call him Drake. I can't even say that was the dumbest thing he did, but it was pretty high on the list of things that he did that was stupid. Maybe I should make a separate list of all the stupid things that Brian Michael Bendis did in Superman, and then all the other stupid things he did in the rest of DC Universe, because I feel like it's a pretty neck and neck list.
And maybe like Naomi, it's like, all right, I don't know if they were trying to use her as like kind of DC's version of America Chavez. Like she's a blank slate, could be super powerful.
Can't say much about America Chavez, but so with Naomi, BMB decided I can't devote time in this team book of like 20 characters to do anything else to expand on this character who I co-created and brought into this book. So I'm going to reduce her to a catchphrase. I'm new. I'm new at this. I'm still new. I'm new every issue. Naomi may not have any other lines, but she's going to say some version of I'm new at this. I just started this a week ago. I'm new. That may be all she says in an issue. And everybody acts like Naomi's got these amazing powers and she has no weakness and she's just super strong and super great at everything. And I was like, this seems like a total waste of Naomi. And then Bendis went on to Justice League. And he brought Naomi over with him. And cool, okay, maybe we're going to get some expansion of Naomi's powers, abilities, etc. here. Same deal. She's amazingly powerful. Nobody knows her limits because she's awesome. And her standard line, I'm new here. I'm new at this. I'm new. I felt like he thought it was hilarious, and everyone else who was going to read it would think it was hilarious too, but it was terrible. So this was the foundation of Naomi, the comic book character. And we already knew that the CW can't be trusted with history of characters who've had 40, 50, 60 years of continuity.
Legendary.
I mean, they have just tons to use, and they're like, scrap it. I mean, shoot, Mr. Terrific, Ragman. I mean, there's so many characters who they just like, I mean, they turned Firestorm to Johnny Storm. Captain Cold, Heatwave. I mean, they just did random stuff, and it's like, what are you doing? But there's never been that definitively great Naomi story. If you were to go, hey, Jeff, what's a great Flash story, Batman story, Green Lantern, Superman, Wonder Woman, etc., I could rattle off several options. There's no great moment for Naomi. She hasn't even had a good moment where it's like, oh man, Naomi is really cool. She's a great character. I can't wait till a better writer comes along and really takes advantage of her potential. That's never happened. And this was worse. You know how people were complaining how Game of Thrones had gone past where Martin was with writing the books. And it was like, well, okay, this is what he said he'd do, but maybe he'll change it. There's just nothing with Naomi. And Bendis was like, shoot, they're doing a show. I need to come up with a second season of Naomi. So with that as the foundation of her as a comic book TV character, I was like, they can't do anything. And in all of the promos, all of the pictures I saw, Naomi looked like a regular person. Why bother doing a superhero show if you're going to have her dressed the same way as Nancy Drew or as the Charm Girls? It didn't make any sense. Put comic book characters in costumes. This is what differentiates your comic book TV shows from everything else. And if you're just going to keep them, looking like Clark Kent in Smallville, then you're wasting everyone's time. And that's why I was like, I don't need to watch Naomi. Disney Plus is putting out Moon Knight, who looks like Moon Knight. I mean, it's not a basic outfit, but they put some work into his costume when he showed up as Moon Knight. I mean, he wasn't the whole time, every episode in that 6 episodes. But when he showed up, he did look like Moon Knight. I mean, they had footage of Moon Knight in costume. Nothing with Naomi. And Naomi has a pretty decent looking costume. So I knew that was dead in the water. Some Batwoman, I was just like, yo, this is the season after the season where they really wanted to cancel it after Ruby Rose left. So, all right, this is a given. Legends of Tomorrow has been hanging by a thread since forever. So that leaves us at this point with 3 shows: Superman and Lois, The Flash, and Stargirl, which was also renewed for season 3. But now, dear brother, Gotham Knights did get approved and greenlit for a series. And this is terrible. They showed the first poster of Gotham Knights. And oh man, it looks terrible. It looks exactly like you would expect a show like this to look like. Where, alright, I'm going to read the synopsis. Bruce Wayne is murdered. His adopted son forges an alliance with the children of Batman's enemies. The city becomes more dangerous. However, mismatched fugitives will soon become its next generations of saviors, known as the Gotham Knights. Now, that's not great. that is the opposite of something encouraging. But let me show you this poster, because I feel like you really need to see this. While I will pop this up so everyone can see the full look, I'm going to let you see it right now.
No, that's Charmed.
That's anything on the CW. It's like, why are you guys bothering?
That's original / Charm people who lost their jobs and now they're getting shifted over there. But it's like, I mean, I think I would have been, if I was like the folks from Batwoman, once I saw that show was getting pitched, I would have known, like, its chances are we're getting canceled. Like, I don't think we have a chance, because like that show directly contradicts our show. And if they're pitching it, they're losing faith in us. I'd have been like, I would have been taking my meetings like halfway through the shoot, like, hey, you're on set. No, man, I got this Zoom call interview. You know, I'm see. I mean, I'd have been like Joe West in Flash, like, yeah, I'm on that NBC pilot because I know where this is going. Like,
dude, but I don't know, man. The NBC pilots. I mean, is that really anything to count on? Because, jeez.
Hey, that's. Hey, I'm a dramatic actor. I should find work.
Just needs to get on
sci-fi show.
Yeah,
I got no chance. But
yeah, you're right. But this is another thing. Why have we had like 40 Batman Gotham shows that figure out how they can manage to not have Batman in it? I'll give Gotham a pass because they intentionally said it before Bruce Wayne became Batman. But why is it they just keep making these shows without having a Batman?
But let me say this. Gotham initially said, hey, here's what we're doing. But then they figured out real quick that wasn't going to really fly. And we had to figure out how to get from not having Batman as Batman to having a pretty fleshed out universe for Batman to eventually arrive in. Even if it's on the last episode on the series finale, we are going to find everything that'll get you to the point where Batman's roads are right here ready for him. So if we got to pick up and could run from this universe to a Batman show, everybody would be fine. I don't think anybody who watched Gotham would have complained that Batman was fighting Jeremiah. Like, nope, not a problem. Sign me the heck up. But all these other ones, it's like I mean, Pennyworth. Come on, you didn't have a chance.
It's still going on.
Yeah, I'm not even going down the list. It's just like, guys, Batman, you need Batman. It's like, if you're gonna do Gotham Knights based on the video game, are you gonna have?
It's not, which is so weird because they won't have an Aquaman in the Justice League cartoon because it's confusing to people. But we're gonna have a video game and a TV show that have no connections outside of Batman being dead.
But the funny thing is, I read, I don't know if it was on Variety or Hollywood Reporter, but they were basically like DC Warner Brothers is basically trying to create their Kevin Feige because they're like, this is stupid. Like our idea of media is just completely stupid. Nobody can follow it, and we have a dedicated fan base that wants to get behind us, but we're just crapping in their face half the time. Not Amber Heard style, but it's getting ridiculous. And it's like, we can make money if we just come up with a cohesive vision. And it's like, that's one of those Gotham Knights. Oh, is it gonna be based on a video game? No, we're just gonna do our own thing. Then why is it called Gotham Knights? Well, we just like the title.
They're just so confusing. They're so confusing. And it's the thing that, and by the way, I will happily take that position. I have an affinity for wearing hats, no problem. But the deal is this. If you let everybody scramble around like rats in the kitchen, going and taking a piece of whatever's there, you're never going to have a cohesive universe. You have Titans with a 70-year-old Batman running around. And you just do all this random stuff that doesn't make any sense. You see Marvel continuing to go, nope, this doesn't count anymore. It's not part of the MCU bubble. They shut stuff down. And they may incorporate it later and be like, hey, for all you fans of this back in the day, here's a little wink and a nod, pat on the butt, and in a very consensual manner. And run along. Our universe is this thing. And if you want a multiverse that says what you watched, what you enjoyed still matters, there you go. But what really matters going forward is our MCU bubble. Everything counts in DC, in their movies, TV. And they focus so much, just like the comic books on Batman. It's like, dude, you have a million properties that would be great for TV shows. It would be great for movies. You don't have to base everything around Batman. And Batman is the easiest. And then somehow they still go, well, can we make it a little bit more realistic and not have anybody wearing costumes? And can we have nobody with abilities? Thank you.
Like, I mean, I honestly, could you not make a series based on the question? Like, I could pitch a show on the questions. Like, the dude's got a mask. He's trying to figure out a big conspiracy. You guys come up with whatever conspiracy you want. I will give you 15 episodes of the question trying to dig in to figure out this mystery. Basically, just like Justice League Unlimited, that was his. It's like that question's arc, and that was, I'm trying to figure out this. Like, I don't need Batman for that. Like, nope. I can keep the budget tight. You just give me a couple name people, Renee Montoya, let me roll. I can do this. You
could do it with Montoya being the partner / sidekick character, and it would make perfect sense because you could have Vic Sage running around using his gas to create his question mask. Montoya is his source with the police. It's not complicated, and I think that's the problem. They go out of their way to try to figure out how can we strip down everything comic booky about these comic book properties, and it's like, why are you doing that? Don't bother doing this.
It's like Marvel showed you don't need to strip down the comic book to be respected and make money. DC doesn't want to learn either one of those lessons. It's just like, but yeah, hey, we're putting out more superhero stuff that won't have any superheroes in it. It's like,
yeah. Buffongo you.
Yeah, it's like I watch CBS if I were to see crime drama without any action. You know.
Actually, CBS shows have more action. So that's that. And just in case you were hopeful about anything else, no, there's no Wonder Twins streaming movie coming to HBO Max. They've decided to shelve that. And, that's one of those things they probably should have never let come out. Like, that never needed to get leaked that, hey, we're considering a Wonder Twins movie. That seemed like a bad idea because you just know they weren't going to really commit to it. And I think if they were to do it, it should have just been an animated thing. I think that could have worked. But they were trying to make a live action deal, and the budget was apparently going to be $75 million. It was a bad idea.
I don't know what TV budgets are going for these days, but it's like Wonder Twins are, even from when we were kids, they're a complicated bunch of characters to animate. It's like, again, like I said, I was watching Smallville, and they had one episode of the Wonder Twins. It was like, we got to make him a tiger, we got to make him water mist, we got to make Jan a bug. Nah, this is gonna get expensive. Like, and we have to. They are, what they were as kids is like they're comedy. So it's like, do you want comedy and probably over budget special effects and trying to make a storyline that at the end wraps up where they got to be the heroes and the only heroes that can be relied on. It's complicated. This just should be like, somebody should have just vetoed like, hey, it's complicated. It's not budget friendly, and we have. I'm sorry. Do we care about the rest of the DC universe that we have all these movies? Has anyone talked about Man of Steel 2? Whoa, get him out of here. Like,
you're fired. Yeah, I'm so confused because I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League, finished watching that, and this time when I was near the end, I was just getting frustrated because it's like you have something that some percentage of your fan base actually wants to see more. I understand because you let everybody else do anything else within the confines of this DC wide open bubble. Why it has to be this thing of, no, we can't do any more of this. This is the hard line. We're not going to continue. And it's just stupid because I feel like that's something even if it's just 50% of the available audience is into this, tap into something because you're just confusing your audience at this point with what matters and what doesn't.
To be honest,
please be honest. Don't lie to me.
I would just like, why don't you, instead of whatever the critics said about your original movies, have the same critics or a select group of those same critics review the full movie, not your decided edits of the movie, and let them review it. And then those critics probably would have given Batman versus Superman a 2-point jump in their reviews. 2-point jumps in their reviews at least would have probably got you an extra, let's say, $200 million in your movies if you guys had just released the full cuts. And they're longer, but it's like, yeah, but you're making up for that in terms of money and the word of mouth, and you would be on your next thing. I mean, you could have, but you let Matt Reeves come up with a 3-hour-long Batman where the third hour should have been completely trashed. But yeah, you're willing to, because you didn't decide to finally, for once, you guys were okay letting the director go and do whatever the hell he wanted to. And now you're getting critical and you're making money. It's like, wow, so maybe we could just do the exact same universe and just get out of the way. Because we can do that. We can also do a Joker, which not going to confuse anybody at all, because you're going to have the Batman, and then you're going to have a Joker, and then you're going to have two Jokers running around, and people can be like, why the hell are there two Jokers? And then you're going to be like, well, I don't understand why these people don't get it.
Well, it could be more confusing if they had.
We need to get rid of Constantine because he's being played by somebody we're going to do an HBO series about, so he's got to go.
Yeah, and the Constantine on that show is going to be a person of color, so that's really going to be confusing. They have no idea what they're doing, and this goes on from the TVs, the movies, to the comic books. There's no central person in charge of anything, and they're great comic books at DC. I tell every week, Nightwing, The Flash, World's Finest, Batman and Superman, Superman Son of Kal-El, Action Comics. They're great comics at DC, but so many of them are bad. Task Force Z is another one that's really great, worth reading. But there's so many, like, hey, let's focus on Batman. Let's do Batman. And there's so much more than Batman, and they just can't get it right. Like, The Death of the Justice League was the 4th highest selling book that month. And that should have been the number one because it killed off the Justice League. But no one cares because Batman, who's killed in that storyline, is running around in 12 more books in the next 3 weeks. Like, they can't even do that stuff. And it's like, gosh, it's so frustrating. But I'm like, they're consistent across the board. And I just wish they would focus on the things that were great. Why don't we have a Nightwing movie? Why don't we have a Teen Titans property that's Teen Titans, where it's fun, where they're learning the ropes and they're confused because they're not as good as their mentors. They don't feel, they're still in the shadows, but they're not little kids anymore, so they're striking out on their own. I don't understand how that's hard to relate to. You have teenagers, that magical group that's always waiting to spend millions of dollars on your movies and TV, the one that you can't ever get.
The people who loves teenage books. I mean, it's young. It's like almost, it's Dawson's Creek. It's Charmed. It's Riverdale. You just put them in costumes. I don't see how that's hard. It's like, and you have a big bad at the end. You know, with one quick fight. Like, because the teenagers are going to screw up, so you don't have to make it perfect. Hey, I got a call from Bruce. He thinks we're horrible. But screw him. We're gonna keep going. It's like,
there are a million great stories of these characters. Marv Wolfman and George Perez created this amazing universe of Teen Titans, and that at least gets you movies, TV shows if you want to go that route. All you have to do, I mean, DC has had some great writers. Use their stuff. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to make it fresh for different audiences. The reason why Marvel Studios has been so successful, Kevin Feige's screenwriters take the comic books as the framework of their movies, and you saw it right away with the first Iron Man, and you saw it with other movies, and you see it. I mean, in some cases they do better than the actual comic book, like Civil War, much better than the comic book series, which was a nightmare. Ragnarok, they do things where it's like, yep, here you can see the influences of the comic in these movies. And you can go, well, hey man, they did that with Christopher Nolan. He did Dark Knight Returns, he did Dark Knight Rises, he did Nightfall, he did No Man's Land. And it's like they double up. They put two comic book stories in one movie, and it's like, just do one. Pick one. Just one. No, we're gonna do two and not do it as well as one could be. They're a mess, and yeah, I can't anymore with DC right now. Let's talk about something that made me feel good. So Daredevil is looking like it's gonna get a new series on Disney Plus. I mean, this is one of those things where it's like, yes, I don't care what that subscription is for the next cycle. Just keep going, dude. You don't even need to ask me. Just, hey, by the way, we renewed your subscription. Hey, of course you did, because you got Obi-Wan Kenobi coming. You've got Miss Marvel, and that She-Hulk trailer you just dropped looks fun. I'm all about it. The She-Hulk trailer is like, see, I feel like Marvel is talking directly to me. Marvel Studios is like, hey, you wanted to see this, didn't you? And I go, yes. This right here is what I'm thinking a She-Hulk show should look like. We even got her and Hulk in action. No more slings, so he's like doing his thing again. It's like this right here. No need to gum up the works. Just do what we want. And I feel like Marvel Studios should just put that on their bumper sticker. Like Kevin Feige should just have a hat that says, Marvel Studios, we deliver what you want. And DC should rock hats that say, DC, who cares what you want? Who cares what you want? Batman. Okay. But yeah. What did you think of the She-Hulk trailer?
I mean, like, I saw it and I was like, man, this looks like a fun show. It's like, it had comedy. It looked like, hey, we're taking this. It's like, we're taking She-Hulk like she's not a joke. It looks like, but she's She-Hulk. And it's like, hey, she's not. We're going to have her like kind of smart Hulk versus, kind of getting there. We're going to bring Abomination back because our stuff, we will find ways for stuff we like, we will bring it back. And again, it was just like, wow, this is looking like it's going to be a fun show. Like, and that's going to be after the Marvels. And I'm like, wow, you guys really do know how to keep my subscription going. I mean, even like I laugh kind of at Netflix and I'm like, wow, Netflix, you guys might want to start taking a page out of Disney's. Like, release something every month, not, hey, we dropped, hey, Love is Blind's done. Hey, what am I going to watch next? I don't know.
We got a new season of The Circle. Okay, cool. And they're starting to release them in spurts now, which is good, but I don't know, man. I kind of feel like if they just release new episodes and stuff every week, it's better than dropping 12 at a time. I'm starting to feel like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny because I think they did that initially with that the rap contest show with Cardi B, and everybody's like, "Oh no, this is a horrible idea," but it's like, nah, you kind of have to make me want to come watch your show. Turn on Netflix every week on a Friday, and then I might watch a movie that I've watched 50 times, but at least it's not, all right, circle. All right, what am I watching? I watch that. All right, I'm just gonna turn it on TV or go to sleep like that.
Yeah, I feel like it's gotten a lot easier to turn Netflix off lately.
Yeah, but I think, Marvel really is like, hey, that She-Hulk, you're gonna want to see this. You're gonna watch this Kenobi thing. Oh, did you see all the interviews we have with Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor? Yeah, we got them all. Bring it. You're coming in. You're not leaving us. And we know that. And we're like, yeah, you got us, and we're cool with it.
Yeah, so we're gonna get a Daredevil series, and that's great. I mean,
but did you also notice that Christian Ritter and Michael Coulter just happened to be hanging out this week? Happened to go on Instagram, like, hey, look who I ran into. It's like,
oh no, what happened? What happened here?
Like Christian Ritter and Michael Coulter just happened to have a picture up this week. Them like, hey, I love this guy. It's like, you do know we're trending that there's some other stuff about Charlie Cox, his show. This happened this week. Just happened to have you guys just happened to be hanging out this week. I'm like, huh? I don't know if I heard that Evil was renewed on CBS. It's like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, maybe need to do some research on that. Yeah.
Like, it's like, we all know it's like, if you guys are gonna, you don't even need to. The funny thing is, like, that Defenderverse, as somebody called it. It's like they don't have to reboot anything. They just need to go to a new storyline. It's just like that storyline's done. Echo is, which we know is getting a TV show, has Kingpin, and she's going to be working with Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio. But the Defenders can do whatever they want, and if you don't like how Luke Cage in, well, we can end that in one episode and get back to whatever we want them to do.
I feel like Marvel was the quarterback of the undefeated high school team, and they brought enough money to get the whole gym refurbished, and then went on to college on a full ride. Also put the team to national exposure, then went to the NFL and had a Hall of Fame career in 7 seasons, and then went on to become a doctor that cured cancer. In DC is a kid that's stealing from their parents, hanging out with the druggies and cheating on exams. It's the 8-year senior at high school, kind of skirting by because the teachers don't want to deal with him anymore, and then goes on to find some Bitcoin and like, oh look, we made a bunch of money. And it's like, but what are you doing that's good that's helping anybody else, really? It's like DC is a Instagram model. The warranty's coming due soon, and it's not doing anything for anybody. Sometimes it looks good, but really, we're about to see that shot with no makeup, and it's about to be bad.
Once our new filter law comes in, you won't be seeing. You're going to be seeing the morning crust, and I don't think nobody wants to see that.
Ain't nobody got no time for that.
That's called the Batman 2 and the Joker 2. The filter's off.
The filter's off. All right, well, it's that time of the week, dear brother. Who's your nominee for Dummy of the Week?
All right, I'm going to keep it. My Dummy of the Week, oddly, is for somebody doing something I thought that would have made sense years ago. Okay. My Dummy of the Week is actually Miss Carmen Electra.
All right.
Is everybody else from Laura Pippin and Larsa Pippin and everybody else has gotten in on the OnlyFans thing? I'm sure. I mean, former Baywatch Carmen Electra. That's money asking to be made. It's like, no, everybody wants to see what you're up to. So, not making that extra money, doing whatever. Now you decided you're going on OnlyFans. That makes perfect business sense. So, her not doing that during the pandemic actually makes her my Dummy of the Week.
All right, my Dummy of the Week, in a rarity in the last few years, is Disney Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. She told Vanity Fair that the company has learned never to recast iconic Star Wars characters following the flop that was Solo, a Star Wars story. Now,
hello.
I'm gonna go first. So, the problem with Solo was not Alden Ehrenreich's performance. He was fine. I mean, who is Harrison Ford at his most iconic Han Solo? Nobody. And I don't think that, oh, he can't do it, he can't do Harrison Ford, is not a criticism of him. Star Wars flopped because people were pissed off at Star Wars. They were like, y'all suck. Y'all can't do anything right. This Last Jedi sucks. Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, wrong. This Force Awakens, The Last Jedi of foolishness. And people weren't happy, or at least half the fan base. Let's say that. They were not pleased with that film at all. You're going to kill off Luke Skywalker? Word be? We're not going to see whatever your next movie is. It could have been Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, Mace Windu as Force Ghost fighting against the Super Sith. We're not here for it. Like, there were no buys. And Solo paid the price for it. Because I feel like people who watch Solo don't hate Solo. They're actually like, yo, can we get another one? I remember seeing Solo 2 trending because people wanted to see another one. And it wasn't just like 2 people like, yo, let's do it. People like Solo who saw it. And I think it was just a backlash of the sequel trilogy midway through its whatever it was doing that hurt Solo. And when you kill off characters like they did with the sequel trilogy that people like, what are you gonna do? So yeah, that's clearly number one. My dummy of the week on that one. You have some thoughts?
I was gonna say that's like Kathleen. You didn't read the room on that one. Like that's really not what everybody was saying. It's like they were, like you said, they wanted to bury something Star Wars after The Last Jedi, and Solo was the vehicle for it. It's not. I mean, it's funny. It's like people who watch the movie don't say, "Oh, it sucks." It's like they don't even talk about truly that movie as bad as they talked about the prequel trilogy. Like there was vitriol, like, "Oh gosh, this is ruining my childhood." Blah blah blah. The CGI is horrible. Oh, wow,
I can't believe he said sand gets everywhere.
Oh, okay. Oh, the dialogue's cringe. I'm like, seriously? The dialogue in Star Wars has always been cringy. You want some great masterpiece writing? Go talk to Martin Scorsese. But it's then. Like, but everyone's like, oh, like, did you hate Solo? No, well, like, you didn't watch it, did you? No, but I did watch Return. I watched The Last Jedi, and man, somebody was taking that one. It's like, yeah, I mean, like, that's like, there were probably reviews of Solo out before, like, if you ever go on Amazon where you see a product hasn't even been released, it's in pre-order stage, that was the reviews for Solo. It was ready to go. Like, oh, you got a movie out? Bam, copy and paste. This movie is trash, bleep. Like, they had no chance. It's like, to say, oh, we're not going to cast any more of our legendary characters. Like, did anyone say Aldrich was sick? It was horrible, because I play Battlefront 2, and I see a whole lot of people rocking old young Han Solo. So it's not that they hate him.
Oh, so I have a question.
Yes.
Would Obi-Wan Kenobi be considered an iconic character?
Obi-Wan Kenobi would have. If you, let's say this, if you would put anybody beside Ewan McGregor in there, yeah, it would have buried that, because it's like, you guys can't do anything right. I mean,
I'm just saying, if Kathleen is going, that's the lesson we learned from Solo, how can you say that when you have Ewan McGregor, who's been a great Obi-Wan Kenobi, and his show is about to come out, and he is reprising the role of a beloved, iconic character? I mean,
you know, the funny thing is, like, I've been listening to a lot of these videos and stuff. Ewan McGregor was like, man, it actually hurt how bad everybody was talking about us during the prequel, because we really enjoyed it. And it's like, but now it's good to see that you guys actually enjoyed the movie. It's like, and now it's very much like, I got y'all again.
Listen, I will be firmly on all the records that I was not a prequel hater. I continue to spread the good word about how good those movies were and how great they were, and all that. So I'm a staunch prequel defender, and even more so after I watched Clone Wars all the way through. So I had a great enjoyment of the prequels, and then Clone Wars took it to a whole other level where I'm like, no, you got to watch all of it. I don't care how much time you need. Just watch it all. Yeah. So that's that. Well, bro, yeah, that's we're a day delayed because we had a happy event last night, but thank you for coming in, and I feel like there's going to be a lot more stuff from DC that I can continue to praise. Show the hope. Show the hope.
I hope it's turning, like, because it's in camera, it's in reverse, because there's no.
I'll flip it around just for you. All right, bro shot. Wait, before we go, The Flash, I want to say this on record. The Flash really should have just made Blackest Night their crossover event this season. Yay? Nay?
They should have done a crossover event?
Yeah, Blackest Night should have been Flash's self-contained instead of Armageddon. Armageddon was just like, hey, but Blackest Night really could have just been, hey, let's bring back dead characters and have them as Ghost fighting Flash and whoever else we can get to come back.
That would have been fun.
I feel like we could have done that.
I mean, because like half the people came back for Legends 100th episode, and half of them are dead. So you could have had Rip Hunter, Captain Cold, Firestorm.
I was like, man, just having one character, and then they're bringing back all these civilian characters who are dead. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah, it's like let's add folks from Supergirl come in because that show's dead. It's like that's so sad.
So sad. So sad. But what's not sad is that we're gonna be doing this again next week, Bro Shot. Thank you as always for rolling with me. Thank y'all out there for watching and listening. This episode of Lyle's Movie Files has been filed.